Hi, how are you all today? I'm Regina, and you are you. Just been in the chat room talking with everybody and patiently waiting for 12 noon to come along. Eh, And so here we are. Um, let's conduct our business here in the beginning. And this is my channel. I don't know quite how I would describe it, but it's for women like me and anyone else. I hope that we're blurring um, the lines of labels, and so just join in. And whoever you are, we don't really care about labels much around here, and so oh, it's always so kind of, I'm excited every time I start this because it's fun, and I look forward to it all week long. And this light's a little bright. Oops, wrong one. Ooh. There, that's a little better. So yeah, I'm always so excited and want to say hi to everybody that's here. Christy and Casey are my moderators, and Sarah's here. And oh gosh, and that looks like it's about it for right now. Or I'm missing somebody. Oh, Naya's here too. Hey, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So anyway, subscribe to my channel, hit the like button when you get a chance, and let us proceed. I think probably to help me calm down a little bit, we should do like a deep breathing exercise, just really briefly, like 3 good breaths, and kind of get out that carbon dioxide that's not doing anything for us, and we can kind of keep this rolling along. So here we go. Just breathe in deeply, do that deep. It does certainly have a calming effect. Let's talk a little bit about the week that I've been through. I've been doing some new and exciting things, new things on the horizon for Regina, and they're really kind of cool. So first off, last Friday, I went and interviewed for singing lessons, because I've always kind of wanted to be able to sing and never thought that I could. I just thought, man, this bitch can't carry a tune in a bucket, and so I went over to this gentleman's house, and I mean, I've known him for several years now, and it was all pretty cool, and so he like sits down at the piano and starts playing a little bar or two, and I start crying, and so, which caught me completely off guard, because you all know that my mother died when I was a teenager, but when I was a little kid, she used to play the piano and I would sing, and then she would send me off to these talent shows and whatnot. And it just, I don't remember most of my childhood, but this just kind of took me back there, and it took me a good 5 minutes to be able to get my proverbial together. I was just blown away, wow, because the piano looked just like the one that she used to play, an old early 1900s upright piano, all wooden, all beautiful. Oh my God, it was such a moving moment for me. And so then, like, here's Mike, and he starts, can you sing this note? And I nailed that baby. And I proceeded to do that. My range isn't great, but I might be able to do this. So I'm scheduled for the next month on Friday afternoons to do my singing lessons. Got a song all picked out. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I might end up having to sing it here. And I don't want you to be going, oh my God, she's going to sing that. Oh, it's going to be fun. And I'm hoping that I can talk him into doing a cabaret night, whether we do a virtual one or I've got connections at the theater. And so I'm on the board of directors for the local theater here. So maybe, just maybe. Probably I should say a note about the coffee. I'm drinking an El Salvador Red Honey this morning or this afternoon. It's a Cadwai, and it's a honey processed coffee. That's where the word honey comes in at. And so it's a nice little sweet coffee. It's really gotten to be quite popular around the roastery, not around the shop anymore. It's around the roastery now. And there's customers who are going to my vendors and requesting this coffee, and this is the first time I brought it home in months, and it's really quite good. This is my second cup of it today. Woo-hoo. Anyway, back to my other new thing is, so I saw this woman who is a scholar at Berkeley, and she's like doing writing groups, writing workshops in erotic literature. And I thought, well, that would be fun. And she's calling it a healing process. And I thought, damn. So I signed up for that today, and I will be doing that next Friday as well. Go sing for an hour and then go write for an hour. Won't that be quite the day? So I'm doing all kinds of different things, and so I'm like excited about that. I have no idea what the erotic workshop is going to be like, but other than interesting, I mean, she gives you prompts and then you write about them, and she said you need 3 pieces of paper. So, oh my stars, my dog is outside barking, and I don't know whether he wants back in or what, but I think he's locked out now. I don't want to get up, but I don't want to listen to him bark the whole hour or hour and a half that we're here either. Poor Tank. Oh, I feel so badly for him. So I wanted to talk a little bit about acceptance today, but first, let's see who's in the chat room. And I saw where Holly here, my friend Holly is here. Holly and I had a really good conversation yesterday, and online doing the old messaging back and forth. Oh gosh. Oh, and Lara is here too. Good to see Lara here as well. So we're filling up the old chat room. Well, let's catch the likes up to the numbers here, folks. Oh, my stars. Oh, Holly, you're so thank you for saying that. So anyway, acceptance. I got in a conversation last week, and you know how I don't like to talk about politics here, and I don't really like to talk about politics in person either. And it was an after hours deal at one of the coffee shops that sells my coffee, and I was sitting there with the gentleman who bakes and the barista, and we get started talking, and I have long been an advocate for just keeping my mouth zipped about the things that go on politically, because if I'm sitting there calling names, I look at myself as being part of the problem, not part of the solution. And I always kind of prefer to think of myself as being in the solution. So I'm just like saying all kinds of things that are not conducive to an open heart. And I have trouble with that. I was like guilty for that the whole next day, not really, oh my God. Oh, I said that. Oh, not quite like that, but just kind of really wasn't that cool, and that kind of goes along with acceptance. There are things happening that I have absolutely no control over. Now, some of the literature in the programs that I belong to talk about cease fighting any and everything. Well, that gets kind of hard for an old radical like me, a person who is been an activist for most of their lives off and on. I've even, I've gone to places where a lot of people haven't gone because of my activism. And so it's interesting. And here I try to follow this spiritual path. And to me, it's like putting my money where my mouth is, so to speak. If I'm going to talk the talk, I need to walk the walk. And so it gets back to acceptance. I need to accept most everything. And it doesn't mean I have to agree. It just means that this is what's happening right now. This is what it is. No more than that. Okay. I don't care. You asked me to use these pronouns. I'm there. I don't need, it's not up to me to oh dear, no, I can't do that. That's not where I'm at all. But you get the drift of what I'm saying. Whatever is. And it's pretty basic. So before I go too far, and help me get back kind of on track here, I've got a cool reading. It's going to be out of the Polishing the Mirror book, and it's by Ram Dass. And I think it's just time to go into Regina's reading room for a minute. And then later on in the show, I've got a poem out of this same book that I would like to read. So anyway, let's lose your mind to gain your soul. And one reason to practice purification is to cool out. So we're not creating so much heavy karma for ourselves. We are constantly preoccupied with the creations of our minds. Einstein said, the true value of a human being can be found in the degree to which he has attained liberation from the self. What we strive to be liberated from are our habitual thought patterns about ourselves and the pull of our sensory experiences. Lightening up in these areas allow us to refocus on centering and calming the mind with meditation, mantra, or practices of bhakti yoga. As these practices deepen, the higher wisdom comes. Taming the mind is fraught with paradoxes. You have to give it all up to have it all. Turn off your mind. There is a place in you beyond thought that already knows. Trust in that. Jesus tells us that unless we become like little children, we cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. The child mind, sometimes called beginner's mind in Zen, and is the innocence of pure being, of unconditional love. If we are to live in that state of pure being, something within us must die. It's like when a caterpillar transforms into a butterfly. The caterpillar does not become a flying caterpillar. It morphs into a butterfly. This is the pathless path. Where the journey leads is to the deepest truth in you. It is really just returning to where you were initially before you got lost. Shedding the layers of the mind is like taking layers off of an onion. You peel them all away until you come to your essence. The spiritual journey is not about acquiring something outside yourself. Rather, you are penetrating the layers and veils to return to the deepest truth of your own being. What you seek is already within you. This reality is subjective, not the outer objective reality. You may experience it as focused in the center of your chest. It can be called the soul, or in Hinduism, the Atman, or in Buddhism, the pure Buddha mind. Jesus Christ said, "The kingdom of God is within you." This is the space of full awareness that is in harmony with the universe. This is wisdom itself. The full spirit of God is inside each of us. Where you want to approach God, go inward. So I really got a lot out of that reading. I wanted to share it with you because of that whole butterfly, caterpillar, because so often when I first started transition, people would give me gifts of the butterfly, and it was, oh gosh, and I think that's where a lot of different things started coming to me as far as spirituality goes, is because I was able to all of a sudden see the world more for what it is. And I think a lot of you can relate to what I'm saying, because we have, lived a lot, as different genders and just different paths. And then all of a sudden we keep digging and we find our authentic self. Oh gosh. And to me, that's just really a huge leap. And many of us have done that and made that leap, and oh my stars, what a wonderful thing. Oh, and so, and I think somehow it all gets back to acceptance. I have struggled at times with acceptance, accepting when people wouldn't recognize my authentic self. I remember this one gentleman I have been friends with. I didn't do anything. We were pretty tight, and I waited to tell him before I started transitioning, and we remained friends, although he continued to call me by my dead name, and I was okay, kind of, it always kind of grated on me, and finally, after a year or two, I said, you gotta start doing this. And he says, well, I can't. And I'm going, you mean you won't? And so in that conversation, we agreed for him to not call me anything. He continued to frequent my shop. Whenever he was in town, he would come in, say hello, give me a hug. And our friendship never really faltered. It just got really tenuous, and I was talking to my good friend the other day, and I brought this gentleman up, and she says, what are you talking about? He's been calling you Regina now for quite a period of time. And I'm going, no, he isn't. I mean, he did introduce me to his mother, but I didn't notice what he called me, and it was so funny, and because she's going, oh yeah, he's like on board now, and I don't know, sometimes it just takes time for people to become accepting of the things that we've had to do to live our authentic lives. And so it just, that's just one of many, many examples of that transition of myself and the community around. But there's so much more about acceptance. There's the whole political thing. I am a big lover of Ram Dass and the be here now thing. And so when I'm struggling with something, I like to look at how does it affect me right this second? And most things don't affect me at all right this second. And that's part of like being in touch with yourself. If somebody says, oh, yes, sir. And and then if I stop and think about it, how does that affect me? That's not taking anything away from me. It takes away from them. It's all about them. It's not about me, and so that's really the way that I feel as though I have to look at things. So I keep getting caught over here by what's going on in the chat room. I see Diana's here. Hi, Diana. And what's going on with my internet connection? Oh dear. So my internet connection is bad? So So when you become comfortable with yourself, others feel that energy and it becomes who you are and how they see you. This extends way beyond gender identity. It is about being comfortable in your skin. Amen to that. And oh gosh, a little blurry. Yeah, sometimes my connection is not, my upload speeds are pretty low. And so because what I see in front of me is like, damn kids, I'm a hottie. But maybe being a little blurry is good for you. But anyway, yeah. No, I love that, Naya. I love what you said there. And Casey, I would love to do the upgrade. I would just do the upgrade, but this is a one-shot deal. They're talking about bringing somebody else into town, but living in a small town in rural Washington state does not always mean we get fast internet. And it's one of the bad things about it. So oh, thank you, Holly. It's actually not a blouse. It's a whole dress thing here. And I was just some little old thing hanging in the closet that I hadn't worn for a while. So, thank you, Lara. Thank you. I needed that. So anyway, Oh, mercy. Life is always changing. Isn't that the truth? That's the one thing that I did learn, is the only thing that's constant throughout life is change. And when I first got into recovery, they said the only thing you need to change is everything. And thank God. And the other thing about my reading is like my first sponsor, he always told me, we'll just keep peeling the layers off, just like a onion. And here I am. I'm not sure either one of us knew what was coming as we peeled the layers off. Oh, mercy. So I'm kind of completely discombobulated. So has anybody got any questions? That's cool, Christy. I was blown away when my son's girlfriend had more acceptance of me as a woman than I felt for myself. It was a life-changing moment for me. Amen. How cool is that? And is that the wife to be at the wedding ceremony in Vegas? Oh, the serenity prayer pops up. God grant me the serenity. That's the easy one. That is the easy one. But then the courage to change the things that I can seems to me to take a lot of time and effort to go forward with those changes, because oh God, we got to muster up the courage. And a lot of us girls, are we've done it, we mustered up that courage because it was so, I don't even think for myself that it was a very courageous thing to do. It was what was in front of me. I could not continue to live the life I was leading. I was manned out. And so we proceeded forth. I started down that rabbit hole, and pretty soon I couldn't come back up. And thank God for that. Hey, it's Eva's here. Hi, Eva. So now we're like stretching from New Zealand to Belgium. And that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. And many places in between. So it must be time for the poem. The other day, Holly and I were having this conversation because I said that I'm an old girl, I'm an old gal. And I say that very lightly because I'm pretty young at heart. I'm like really kind of proud to be 70 years old because I freaking made it, and I lost my partner 3 years ago, about 3.5 years ago, and that was obviously life changing, very much so. But it also was attitude changing about me and age, and I don't care, I'm happy to be growing older. I've come to view death as just being the next step on the journey. And so Holly and I were having this conversation, and so I found this poem the other day, and it kind of talks, and it's written by an old lady that was 85 years old, and I thought maybe some of you would like to hear it because it talks about youth and about the things that should have done different. And Oh my. Let me read it and then I'll talk about it a little bit. Um, if I had my life to live over is the name of it, and it's written by Nadine Strain, who was 85 at the time. I'd like to make more mistakes next time. I'd relax. I would limber up. I would be sillier than I have been this trip. I would take more chances. I would climb more mountains and swim more rivers. I would eat more ice cream and less beans. I would perhaps have more actual troubles, but I'd have fewer imaginary ones. You see, I'm one of those people who live sensibly and sanely hour after hour, day after day. Oh, I've had my moments, and if I had to do it over again, I'd have more of them. In fact, I'd try to have nothing else, just moments, one after another, instead of living so many years ahead of each day. I've been one of those persons who never goes anywhere without a thermometer, a hot water kettle, a raincoat, and a parachute. If I had to do again, I would travel lighter than I have. If I had my life to live over, I would start barefoot earlier in the spring and stay that way later in the fall. I would go to more dances. I would ride more merry-go-rounds. I would pick more daisies. And so, you know, I I love that. I've made a few mistakes over time. I've lived a pretty interesting life. Some people would say, me, just just the life. It's the one I've lived, and I just love that, because I have always fought in that same. Oh gosh, I sometimes see the duality of the life I lead now. There's the little old church lady Regina, and then there's the vamp, and and uh, and I think it's just funny because I'm more this than I am this. But I don't know. Maybe that's just a perception. Maybe nobody sees me as a little old church lady. Oh my stars! Oh, amen. Life is a celebration. And wow, you know that is so true. I mean, God, we only got today, and if we're not treating everybody like it's the last day on the face of the planet, then we're doing it wrong. It's like we should be kind, we should be loving, we should be just open our hearts to everyone, help somebody out if they need it. We don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. And so here we are. And what's our options? The one thing that I never wanted to be was an old grouch, and so I'm not afraid to laugh. I'm not afraid to do something a little out of ordinary. And what I am afraid of is just not doing anything. Consequently, singing lessons, erotic writing workshop. Come on, what do you guys got going that's new and exciting for you? Oh, Naya keeps coming up. Blessing every day is being alive and being grateful. Aging is beautiful, natural process, the gift of the wisdom we acquire, and the appreciation of the day. Naya, I'm so glad you're here today. So wonderful. A little book, eat less cottage cheese and more ice cream. God, how'd you know that I'm eating cottage cheese? And I won't even walk. When I go to the grocery store, it's so funny. About once a month, I walk by the ice cream cooler because I need to go down that aisle. But then I won't look at it, and the other day it was that time of the month, and I went down that aisle and I stood there and was looking in it. And I reached for the door once and then I let go of it and moved on. But maybe I should just celebrate once. See, that's the problem when I stop and have ice cream. If I have some ice cream, then I have to have it for the next month before I've had so much and I've blossomed, gained a few pounds and Lara, you said, yep, be kind and lift each other up. We all need that. It's what should be. Thank you for saying that. So, as we go about life and we have this community that goes on over here on the side of my screen, and we are all part of this community, and we're very accepting of each person in this community, and we need to bolster to lift each other up. And then when we feel good about ourselves after we have one of these sessions and we go forth out into the world, and we need to carry that on and lift those around us up. And a lot of times it's no more than just saying, hey, hi, how are you doing today? It's good to see you. I see you wandering around. I don't even know your name, but, oh, I'm Regina, and start up a conversation. And God, you might just make somebody's day. And that's so much fun. I love talking to new people that I don't know, and little secret here. So I have all these people who talk to me, and go, oh, hi, Regina, how are you doing? And I occasionally have no idea who they are, but being me, I never let that stop me. I never go, oh, who are you? I just go, hi, like we're old best friends, I'll sometimes go to the big city, the city of 20,000 down the road and be wandering around in the grocery store and people come up and, oh, hi, hey, what's going on? And they're so out of context there that I have no idea who it is. It might be somebody from here, but, because they're not dressed the same way or because they're not in the same town. Oh, it's just kind of fun. And, I don't know. I just like that kind of thing. It's hard to know the difference sometimes of what you can change and what you can't. And that's really kind of true. But sometimes I think we sell ourselves short. I'm not sure I can change the world, but I know that if I'm not kind and I'm not giving and I believe certain things, if I don't put the rubber to the road, so to speak, then I certainly am not going to change the world. But if I could change one person, into being a kinder, nicer human, then, I've done my part. And so if we all take that upon ourselves, and all we have to do is do that change thing, to be kinder, be a kind soul, so to speak. Wow. And set the example. All we can change is ourselves. And hopefully we can hope that someone else sees how good our lives are and decides to change to make their life better too, to get the message so that they can change themselves, and that's what all this means to me. It's like the election. We can't do much, but we can vote. And while, my one vote doesn't really mean anything, well, if 20 of us say that, then yeah, each one of our votes means something. And so then, so we can't just, because we don't count, because we do count, and what else do we have here? All right. Oh my God, we've got 9 people watching and only 7 likes. Ten views, 8 trumps up. Well, wonder why mine doesn't. Oh, because it's me. That's the 10th. I don't know. So somebody asked me a question. I'm ready to answer a question. I'm thinking it must be that time. Do I like my own stream? Is that what you're saying, Naya? Oh. Sometimes it is what we can't change that presents the question: how can we make the best of that situation, or learn the best to best deal with it to benefit us? So true. So true. And that's where the acceptance comes in. Sometimes all we can do is just accept it, and it's not going to benefit us. It doesn't matter. Christy, you asked what activism I had done in the past. So I was really a vocal anti-war protester in the 70s, just to name a few. And that actually got me into some trouble. And I don't really want to go into all of that, but yeah, I was very active anti-war protester in the 70s. And another instance was in the 70s, in the late 70s, there was a farm strike. The wheat farmers were going to go on strike. And at the time, I was a dairy farmer. And I was like the only dairy farmer that dumped milk in support of the wheat farmers on the day of the farm strike. And that's a huge story, but I have supported things of different ilks over the years, and there was a time I became very apathetic too. I think all of us idealists from the 70s and whatnot became very apathetic, and during the 80s and 90s, we had done a lot to the Clean Water Act, the Clean Air Act, and different bills have been passed, and we thought that everything would be okay. And then some of the leaders went off to sell stocks and bonds, and we got caught up having to grow families and whatnot, and it's just been not always a good thing to be apathetic. Right on, Casey. How do you deal with it when people do not accept you? Have you learned to not let that disempower you? What a great question, Naya. And thank you for asking. I don't normally like to go places where I'm not completely accepted. And my own brother, say, for example, does not accept me. And who cares? It's his problem. He has a gay son that he doesn't accept either. He's the least of my worries. One thing about my family is that we were a little less than what you would call tight. I've always been the black sheep in the family. And so, so be it. I'm not going to go see my brother. It's not like we were on a see you every weekend basis when I transitioned. I'd gone for years without seeing him. I mean, he has issues that I don't particularly accept, and they have to do with religion and whatnot. And oh gosh, it's his problem. And that's kind of the way I look at it. It's other people's problems, not mine, if they don't accept me. But if it's out in the open, and then sometimes, I don't, yeah, generally, I move very freely in this town, in the neighboring town that's larger, and then in the bigger town that's an hour and a half away. Of course, I seldom go there, especially with COVID, but I don't even think twice about going any place, quite frankly. I don't drink. I mean, I would think twice about going to places where alcohol is served late, so I don't do a lot of nighttime, but it's really not my age bracket kind of thing. Most people my age are long in bed by the time the people get a little rowdy at bars, say, and I'm one of them. So I don't go to places like that. I'm not around alcohol much at all. And it's like traveling in foreign countries. You just don't go places after dark and where there's alcohol and drink a lot of it. It took me a long time to figure that, but that's when you get rolled. And so does that disempower me? No. I don't think so. Gosh, I think that I just pretty much live my life, and so Does that answer the question? Am I shirking anything? I'm not afraid of that question at all. I what is geo? What? Is there any more questions? How many of us stay away from bars later in the evening? I'm assuming you are like me and figure it's not a good situation. That's it, exactly. I mean, it's not a good situation for me anyway, because I'm an alcoholic and, unless I have reason to be there, there's no reason for me to be there. And so, I don't mind being around drinking as long as people stay sober. I mean, one of the times when I first started transitioning, I was in Boise, and we had a late dinner reservation at this restaurant, and it was like the first time I ever wore a dress out in public. And I had already revealed myself to some friends that I knew there. And that day I was a little, upset with everything. And so we go into this restaurant, and it's just like one of the noisiest places. There's no wall between the dining room and the bar. And it's getting louder and louder in the bar. And I think we got done with dinner right around 10 o'clock. And so my girlfriend goes to the restroom, and I go out and sit on this couch and sitting outside. And this guy staggers out of the bar, college age student, because it was just across the river from Boise State. And he sees me sitting there, and he starts staring, and we're waiting for the taxi, and he stared. It seemed like an eternity. And oh my stars, it just like, and finally he just shook his head and walked away. It just scared the hell out of me, but it made me realize that being around alcohol is probably not a good idea. I think I look enough different now to where I don't have those kind of problems. Oh, I say that, and then I recall like last year going to a restaurant, and there was some lady in the bar that was just staring, but could have been because of the difference in size between me and the lady I was with. She's about 5'2", maybe 100 pounds, soaking wet, and I'm about 6 foot and a couple soaking wet, and so she gave us quite a look, but I didn't pay much attention to her, not bothering me. Right on, Lara. Just leave them out of your life. That's kind of what I try to do. So who's got improper spelling? It is important with me. Just kidding. Oh, Sarah, don't worry about your English here. I've got pretty bad English too. I've been known to even delve into French once in a while, No, I don't want to go there. No profanity. Casey, you went to college in Boise State? How cool is that? I used to live down that way, down in Caldwell, years ago. That was another place where nobody knew me by my dead name except for the woman that I lived with at that time, actually an ex-wife. Yeah, there I was, Doc. That was funny. So, question. So, what's after acceptance, Regina? What you experience with finding ways to just be true. Living in the here and now. I don't know how to answer that. What's after acceptance? Whose acceptance? Mine or someone else's? Accepting the next thing. I kind of think that, just being myself. And that's the only thing I can worry about. And so just accepting myself for who it is, being the most authentic person I could be. About rigorous honesty and because we've read that and how it works all these years. And I was never able to be rigorously honest. And when I started accepting my authentic self, and I could move into that rigorously honest category. Am I perfect at it? Absolutely not. It's just really about being the best person I can be. And am I perfect at that every day? No. It's always about progress, not perfection. It's okay to have a day where, like I was talking earlier, where I called the president a name. I called him a motherfucker. And it's okay. I have to accept that. I'm good. I think, I don't know, is that any kind of an answer, Lara? So I'm loving this. Oh yeah, I know where Fruitland is. Huh, cool. Cool. Hey, we used to go through Fruitland all the time on the way up to Brownlee Reservoir. Oh, speaking of acceptance, what do you do during your transition to accept yourself? With everything life, it's hard to be accepting of ourselves. Oh, that is an interesting question. Because that's where all the dysphoria and everything would come in. I started transition. You do all these things. One thing that I did, and at one time, my therapist had me take a picture of myself and then write all the good qualities about this person. And I actually followed her directions, blew up this picture, and started writing things, affirmations on it about the person or the woman that I was or am. And I looked at that every morning right next to the mirror, and oh my stars, I looked at that and I read it, and those affirmations sometimes really help me out. And so, little by little, I began to accept myself, um, and I think that's about as far as I can go with that. I'm pretty comfortable being me today, pretty comfortable, but it wasn't always so. And, but one day that 1st of October, what was it, 2015, when I walked into my coffee roastery shop, and it was Regina. I mean, there's never been any wavering whatsoever, and being comfortable there and not worrying about what people would think or do or say. That was the part that was the hardest, where you have to set fear aside because it's nothing but something that went on in my head. Because those things that I imagined happening never really happened. And after I figured that out, my life got a lot better. So I just saw a question here. So Naya was asking, what is rigorous honesty? There is a deal. It comes from the Alcoholics Anonymous program, and in the first paragraph of how it works, which is read at almost every meeting, it talks about rigorous honesty, and rigorous honesty is just being truthful. There is no in between truth and dishonesty. You're either truthful or you're not. And I'll tell you what, I really struggled with that for a long time, because even when I got in the program, and I couldn't quit lying. I hadn't drank for years and years and years, and I'm still lying like crazy, because I did not peel enough layers off. Every time that I would go do something, and there was always a certain element of bullshit to everything. And I've said it before. I did an interview with a public broadcasting deal in Boise. They had hunted me down, and when I was having my surgery, they came and interviewed me while I was in the hospital, and one of the things I said to them, I said, if my lips were moving, I was probably lying, because that's the way I feel about living as a man for all those years now. Is I was just unable to be honest with myself because I was afraid. And for whatever that's worth, I wish that if I was going to do one thing different, I read that poem about the mistakes that I've made. Well, the mistake that I made was not going down the road that I really could find authenticity and been able to, so for every woman that I married or was a boyfriend to, that's a big lie, because I'm not really into stuff, and when I look back, and I saw that rigorous honesty thing in how it works, and because this is what they read, because right after, rarely have we seen a person fail in sobriety unless they don't have rigorous honesty. I can't remember exactly how it goes, but it says if we're not rigorously honest, we're not going to make it. We're not going to be able to stay sober. And so I just had to pray for willingness, to become, and so my prayers have been answered, so to speak. I hope that helps. Being kind to myself, forgiving my past self was a huge step to self-acceptance. Amen. Yeah. Nothing more than excessive mouth exercises? Well, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. So Holly wants to know how we can accept ourselves, understanding that we're doing the best we can every day. I mean, none of us are perfect. Why would we not be able to accept ourselves? You know, when I look at myself, if I want to take a look at myself to be accepting, let's look at this moment right now. No, now. And there is nothing that is happening around me that is affecting how I am. I'm being the person that I can be right now. And I'm okay. And I can accept that. There's no reason to worry about what I'm not doing. There's no reason to worry about what I've done in the past or what I'm going to do in the future. Right this second, I'm okay. And that's all we have to worry about in accepting ourselves. It's right now. There's no reason to worry about the future, no reason to worry about the past. Those things that are done in the past are done. We don't know how the future is going to play out. Why worry about it? So right now, so Lara, what? I have trouble a bit still. Like I want breasts bigger. Then I found my daughter has cancer and may lose hers. It made me question things I am willing to accept. Yeah. Wow. Well, there's a bunch of different levels. Well, let's give some thoughts and prayers to your daughter, Lara, and send out the healing vibes. So, one thing about accepting that news is you can't change it. It's still there. It doesn't mean that it's okay, doesn't mean anything else. It just is. And you still work to fight the cancer and move forward, because that's the acceptance part, is you move forward to do battle or the next thing, and that's just acceptance. Nothing you can do is going to change it except to do battle with it and get it gone. And oh, Sarah, Always difficult to be trans. You know, I can see where you could be that way. But I'll tell you my experience. You know, all these years I was this man, and I was what I was. You know, I was very quiet, reserved. You know, always preferred being away from people, and I mean, I would like interact with people well, but I didn't seek them out. And so so then, you know, I come to the conclusion that this is who I am and always have been. And you know, the changes that my personality has gone through has been, oh, excuse me, has been so worth the journey, you know, because I'm like completely different, so much more relaxed. And I'm not the only one who notices it, you know. I went to lunch with this lady the other day, and her husband used to work with me, and she would come into my office and shoot the breeze sometimes. And so we've kind of become friends here recently. And you know, and she notes right away the difference in me now and the difference in me 5 years ago, or actually it's more like 7 years ago when he retired. And wow, you know, and that's is just coming to terms with who you are. And I just think it's the best thing that ever happened to me. It's opened my those doors up to a world that didn't exist for me before. And I can't talk about that enough, because you know, I lived in a hallway kind of, and then when I transitioned, and those door the whole world view just continues to open up. And I'm not sure whether it's because of what I you know, I think it's just because I've found myself, and this is who I was always meant to be. And there's just no getting around it. I love it. I love it. I am. Did we lose Lara? Hey, bye bye. Um, so I hope that helps, Sarah. You know, I hope y'all aren't thinking, you know, that you know, I'm just talking. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a counselor. I'm none of that. You know, um, everything I state is just my opinion, and you know, it's my disclaimer. And so, you know, I am what I am, and so so where are we at? Are we're starting to, you know, wind down here. Boy, isn't that the truth, Naya? So what do we do? Now let me ask you guys a question. How do we go about being label free? You know, because it would help immensely if we just accepted the way each person is, you know. And how do we start that? How can we expand it from our community out into the world to just be label free? Narcissism. I think as we transition, we all kind of go through a stage of narcissism, because it's such a huge thing in our lives. And all of our thoughts are about ourselves for a little while. And so it is something to combat. But so yeah. Oh wow. Amen, Casey. We're human. You're pretty right on, Naya. Wonderful answers. And Sarah, I don't know how to answer that pain. How to respond. I no experience. I can understand it, I think, a little bit, but it's not in my experience, because I was able, I have children, but I had to experience them differently. Um, so I threw my screw collection out years ago, girls. You know, if if there needs to be something screw, oh wait a second, I can't even go down that path. I'm done talking about screws. Um, oh, you God, showing off your tool collection. Oh, mercy. So this is probably a good place to wrap up. Oh, my stars. What a fun afternoon that we've had. We went a little over my hour that I was thinking, and it's been great. Did the picture ever get better? Did it quit being so fuzzy? Um, I know I keep bumping my desk and it really jiggles, but maybe I was jiggling all the time. Um, it, it is important, Naya. So each and every one of you guys has been such a blessing on this program today. All nine of us, I think, are sitting here talking, or was it 10? So what a wonderful, great show. And I hope that we've made progress my dog has been relatively decent outside. He's barked a little bit, but not enough to annoy me. And so thank you all. How do you just say goodbye? Thank you all. It's been a wonderful chat, and hope to see you next week. Subscribe and like the show, and let's see if we can grow this channel. And heck with it if we can. So it's been a wonderful conversation, and I wish you all the best. Have a good week, and we'll see you next Wednesday at noon Pacific time. Love to all. Bye-bye. Oh, Adelaide just popped in. How you doing, sweetie? So you take care. I was just getting ready to hit the button when I saw your name, wanted to say hi. So take care all, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.